Welcome, Top Mach Studio fans, to the flight deck of the world's only operational stealth bomber, the venerable Northrop B-2 Spirit, and the first video in the B-2 tutorial series. In today's video, we will be giving a brief overview of the systems, panels, and features of the B-2, showcasing all the aircraft has to offer in preparation for future in-depth tutorials. This video features integrated chapters. Please use these to navigate to relevant sections of the tutorial as desired. Timestamps may also be found in the description. Nearly all the switches you see in this video are animated and clickable, however not all have a function in the simulator. I will be highlighting the sections that do have relevance in flying with text like this. Hopping right into it, we'll begin on the pilot side of the flight deck, then work our way around. On the upper left console, we have our EFB, electrical and comm controls, as well as weapons arm switches, which are inoperative at this time. Electricals will be prevalent during the startup and shutdown procedures, so see future videos for in-depth explanations on how those work. Comm knobs can be adjusted for volume as desired, but don't serve much function within the core simulator. Moving down, we have our engine auxiliary door switch, also sometimes referred to as the dog ears. These open at lower airspeeds to provide increased airflow to the engines buried in the fuselage. Just below, there are pilot side interior lighting knobs, useful for night operations. You will also find the pilot's throttle and alternate throttle trim area, used for the penetration FCS mode, touched on in a later video. Just to the right of the throttle is the ejection seat arm flap. Looking forward, you will be greeted by the left auxiliary console. This houses your anti-skid switch, brake accumulator pressure gauge, parking brake click button, landing and taxi lights, as well as the landing gear handle. The pilot's office consists of 4 primary multi-purpose data units, housing multiple pages relevant to piloting the aircraft. You can use the various click buttons surrounding the MDUs to cycle various options and pages. In the bottom left, you have the flight data panel used for various functions. There are 4 selection buttons on the left, as well as a keypad and course and heading knobs. The Baro button will change your current barometer setting after a number has been entered. Command Alt will update the current altitude set for the autopilot. Rad Alt set activates the TFR mode, and Airspeed set will set the airspeed for the autothrottle. The bottom right features backup display gauges, housing standby attitude, airspeed, altitude, and barometer settings. These would be used in the event of an avionics or system malfunction, causing the primary instruments to be unusable. The details of the MDUs and flight data panel will each be covered separately with more detail in a future video. Above the MDUs is a set of caution and advisory buttons on the Glareshield. These are the Master Warning, intended for serious faults in the aircraft that should be addressed immediately. Master Caution, more minor faults or cautions that may pose a risk to the aircraft if not properly addressed. And a general fire light that indicates, figure that one out. Just to the right are 5 more buttons, all of which are inoperative besides Pen and Approach. Pen is the activation switch for penetration mode, and Approach activates the approach mode of the autopilot. Above these buttons is your AOA indexer, which is active with gear down while airborne. Yellow indicates too fast or low AOA. The green circle is on speed, and the red indicates too slow or high AOA. Further right still, you have warning lights for each engine, both APUs, and 4 discharge push buttons. While engine fires are not modeled at this time, you can test these lights with the emergency test switch on the overhead panel. Below the warning lights is the center panel, situated between both pilots, which contains 2 main features: the Center Information Display, or CID, and the Fuel Management Console. The CID contains backup engine and instrument information for quick reference by the pilot, without needing to cycle to a relevant MDU page, and can be turned on with the switch on the right. There are 4 other tabs that can be selected for the CID. Info contains a repeat of the crew alerting system cautions on the MDU. CTSD is inop at this time. IFR shows a moving map display for convenience. And text contains an interactive checklist that can be manipulated and scrolled through by the user. A barometer knob and CID brightness knob can be found below the display, which perform their respective functions. The Fuel Management Console is largely inoperative. It is a complex system that does not get used in the real aircraft. Like the real-life B-2, this rendition will automatically maintain center of gravity and fuel levels, and this console would only be used if this automatic system were to fail suddenly mid-flight. A few key features that are modeled are the area refueling knob, which opens the door and allows for simulated AAR to take place to add fuel mid-flight, and the fuel dump switch, which does the opposite. Moving down once more to the center pedestal, we have some more operative controls. There's the standby clock and cabin pressure gauges, with the mission commander throttle just after that. The oxygen and ECS controls are located to the left of the throttle. Largely irrelevant to simulator flight, I would recommend turning up the cabin flow knob though for a neat little feature. Speaking of neat features, at the very back of the panel you can find a button with a lift cover labeled FCS Maintenance Bit. Upon clicking this, with hydraulics flowing and parking brakes set, you can hop into externals to see the flight controls performing a built-in test, cycling through the deflections to test for any faults. Always a cool sight to see. Moving on to the left, the bleed air panel will control the air supply from the engines to power your ECS. Clicking these on or off will also come with a slight change in the ambient cockpit sound. The final thing on this panel is the Data Entry Processor, or DEP. Largely similar to an airliner FMC, this is where you will enter relevant flight information, including nav data, flight plans, and more. Due to its multiple pages and functions, its details will be left for another video as well. The Mission Commander MDU Office Suite and DEP is the same as the pilot's, therefore will not be covered in this video. The rest of the Mission Commander Suite is largely the same on the pilot side, or in operative. Similar cockpit lighting and communication controls are present, and a KY58 panel system, which does not have a use case in this simulator, is located behind the Mission Commander stick. Last on our list of panels is the overhead area, another feature commonly found on airliners that is also in the real-life B-2. Working from back to front, there are two buttons that control the crew entry hatch, which allow crew and maintenance members to board the aircraft. The external lights display is just forward of that, with anti-collision, position, and air-to-air refueling light controls. When the farthest right position light knob is moved into the retracted position, the external lighting fixtures will retract into the aircraft, putting it in stealth mode. Forward of the lighting controls is an emergency test switch. Moving the switch into test mode lights all relevant warning lamps. Just forward of that are the rest of the interior lighting controls. The last thing in this panel is the engine and APU controls, relevant to the startup and shutdown procedure, and covered in its respective video. Last but not least, the rear cabin of the aircraft, largely cosmetic in nature. Located behind the pilot is the door to the entry hatch, which can be opened with a simple click.
Caution, caution.
And just above it is the infamous microwave. Press the button to pop open the door and see what's for dinner. And, of course, no B-2 would be complete without a toilet. Beautifully modeled in stunning 4K, this porcelain throne is military grade and will take anything you throw at it. Or in it. Click the seat for some crisp 60 frames per second animation, and hear the sweet, sweet sounds of the flush with the switch just below it. Where do the contents go? Well, let's just say we won't just be dropping GBUs on this mission. We hope you enjoyed this brief display of the B-2's cockpit functionality, and hope that you're excited to see more in the upcoming future videos that will help you master flight with the stealth bomber.